Some might say that I'm a loner, but I just call it being free. I am my heart's only owner, or at least I used to be. 'Cause now a wildfire is raging deep inside.
Hey everyone, I'm Calvin with Southern Country Living, and today we're going to be cooking some country fried steak. And this is something that Marie and I used to make all the time. We hadn't made it in quite a while, but one of my friends on YouTube, Justin, he mentioned it a couple of weeks ago and got me thinking about it. So we want to do a recipe on country fried steak, and let me just show you how we do it. I know a lot of people do it different ways, but this is what we do. Now the steak that we're going to be using, it is a cube steak. We buy this from Piggly Wiggly's over here locally to our town, and this little packet just has 2 pieces of meat in it. The total weight is 7/10 of 1 pound, so they're small pieces, but they're a little bit thick, and me and Marie, we like ours to be a little thinner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these pieces and pound them out a little bit and make them where they're not quite as thick. This is not something that you have to do. This is strictly if you want to do it. And I just take a little piece of cling wrap. Put a piece of steak on it. Cover it up so it won't splatter all over everything. Then just take a mallet and just pound it out. Now this may make a lot of noise, so if it makes too much noise, I'll turn the sound down on it. But by doing this, this helps tenderize the meat, and it also makes it a little bit thinner. Okay, that should be enough for that piece there. And let me get my knife. Okay. Lay those over just for a minute. Now like I said, if you want your steak to be good and thick, just use the pieces just like you buy them. This is just how we like to do it. This also helps your meat go a little further. If you have several people in the family, you can do it this way and make 2 pieces make 4 nice little steak pieces. And so it's a good idea too. Okay, now to batter this meat, what I'm going to do, I've got some flour in this bowl here, and I'm going to add some salt to it. And I'm also going to put salt on the meat itself before I batter it. Just a good sprinkle of salt. I'm also going to put black pepper in the flour. And I put a pretty good bit of black pepper. Seems like it gives it a better seasoning if you put a good deal of black pepper in it. Stir it up, mix it up real good. Just a little more black pepper. Now, on the batter, you can let this just be it right here. You don't have to do anything else to it. But one thing that we do like to do, I'm going to add a little bit of Lowry's seasoning to it. And I'm not going to put much in there, but just a little bit. We don't do that every time, we just do it occasionally. We made this exact recipe last week just to test it to see how we still like it. And because like I said, it's been a while since we made this. And we did not put Lowry's in it then. And Marie said she thought it needed just a little more seasoning, so I wanted to put that Lowry's in there this time. Now, in this bowl here, I've got 1 egg. Now, if you're doing a lot of pieces, you may end up needing 2 or 3 eggs. Go ahead and beat that egg up just a little bit. And then add just a little bit of milk to the egg. And I'm not going to add much. And then mix that up real good. Okay. Now this little stage here is a little messy, but I'll go ahead and use my fingers. Take your meat, put it in the flour, and turn it over and get it floured real good on both sides of the meat. I hope I've got my camera over here where you can see that good. Then go into the egg mixture. Get it good and wet on both sides. Then come back to the flour. And just go ahead and get it floured up real good again. And the last thing you want to do when you get it floured is just give it a little shake, let the extra flour come off, lay it back on your wire rack, and we're going to let it lay here for at least 5 minutes before we put it in the pan to cook it. So let me go ahead and get these other 3 pieces battered up real quick. Now, if you wanted to, you can do it with just flour and skip the egg mixture. But if you do that, your batter is not going to be quite as thick on your country fried steak. And we just like a good thick batter. That's the way the southern recipe calls for. And that's how we like it. Okay, there's my last piece battered up. I'm going to let this lay here for about 5 minutes and let it dry a little bit. And while that's happening, I'm going to clean my mess up just a little bit, and then I'll turn the camera on back over here when I start to fry. Okay, it's been just a little over 5 minutes. I've got my oil over here heating up, and I've got most of my mess cleaned up. Let me check my oil. You can take just a little dab of your flour and drop it in, and if it starts sizzling, you know that your oil is hot enough to do it. Okay, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so it won't be too terribly hot. This pan, I don't think this pan is going to hold all 4 pieces. I'll start off with this one and a small one. Yeah, I don't want to crowd the pan, so I'm just going to cook 2 pieces at one time. Once you put the steak in the cast iron skillet, you want to let it cook from anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes on each side. And you just watch it until it starts to brown real good on the bottom side, and you want to try not to turn it over but one time if you can. So we'll let this sit here and cook a few minutes. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes, and I'm just going to lift the edge up and see what it's looking like. And it's almost ready. It's very close. So give it just a little bit more time here. If it looks like it's frying a little bit too hard, just turn the heat down on it just a little bit so it won't be so high. Okay, let's see what it's looking like. That's just about right there on that piece. So let me turn it over. That looks good. And that piece there looks good. Okay, so we'll let these cook on this side for about 3 to 5 minutes. Two are ready. Let me get them out. And I just place them on a plate with a paper towel on it to let the extra grease drain off of it. And hopefully you can see that right there. But we'll let that sit there for a few minutes while I cook the other 2 pieces here. Okay, after I get these other 2 pieces done, I'll show you how to make some real good gravy to go with this country fried steak. We're going to be serving these tonight with green beans and mashed potatoes. So I definitely want to make some good brown gravy to go with it. And I'll use the drippings from this right here to make the brown gravy. Okay, let me check them. Oh yeah, they're perfect. Okay, the last 2 pieces are done. Let me get them out. Okay, let them sit there. That's how they look. I hope the camera's picking it up good. Let me show you over here on this camera here. I'll take some pictures and put some pictures in the end of it, but they're looking real nice. So I'm gonna let this oil cool down for just a minute, then I'll pour out the excess oil, and then I'll make the brown gravy for it. So I'll be back with you in just a few minutes here. Okay, I've got the excess grease drained out of the pan. So now I'm gonna show you how to make some real good brown gravy to go with this. And there's just a drop or 2 of grease in there, but not much. I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of butter in here and let that go ahead and start melting. Now, I haven't turned the heat on yet. I'm going to turn it on here in just a minute. But all them scrapings that's on the bottom, just take your spatula and go around and knock them all loose, because they'll be in your gravy. And it really gives it a lot of flavor. You'll really enjoy this. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit of heat. You want your heat to be low on this because you do not want to burn your gravy too bad. I've got some green beans cooking directly behind it, and I've already made the mashed potatoes. So this meal is going to be ready to eat just as soon as the gravy gets done. And I do like having my gravy good and hot. Okay, it's starting to look good here. Now, if you're just wanting to make a white gravy, you do have to make it a little bit different than the way I'm making this. Okay, that's starting to melt down. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour to it. And it don't have to be precise. But you need this flour in here to help get your gravy to thicken up. One of them wasn't completely full, so I put just a little bit more in there. Okay, that should be enough flour to get this started. And just keep it stirred up until it becomes a thick roux is what they call it. And once it starts to make that roux, I'm going to add just a little bit of milk to it. You don't want to add too much milk at the first because you want to keep it thick. It sure does look good. If you make this in a regular Teflon pan, your gravy won't be quite this pretty and brown. But if you make it in a cast iron pan, it really makes a nice gravy. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit of milk in it now. Not much to start with. And then I'll be coming back and adding some more. What you want to do is just keep stirring it in and keep it thick till you get to the very last time you add your milk to it. I'll probably put somewhere between a cup to 2 cups of milk, so just make sure you got plenty of milk to add to it in case you need extra. Okay, it's starting to get thick again, so you add a little more milk. Now if Marie was in here making this gravy, she can really make some good gravy. But she's been having a little sinus trouble, and so I'm helping her out today. Okay, it's starting to look real good. Okay, I've got that good and thickened up like I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and add my last milk to it. This time I'm going to go ahead and put probably at least a cup this time. A little bit more than I did the last 2 times. Okay, that should make us a good bit of gravy. You just keep it stirred until it gets nice and smooth. I think those green beans are done, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the green beans off. And let me get a whisk. It does help to keep this smooth a little bit with a whisk. Okay, I've got it whisked up till it's real nice and smooth. Now I'm just got to wait for it to thicken back up just a little bit. When it first starts to thicken, I'll turn the heat off and that'll be enough for it. Okay, this is starting to thicken up nice and look good. Okay, that should be ready. Let me get this off and I'll plate us up a plate of food and show you how it ends up looking. Okay, so here's our country fried steak with our country gravy, mashed potatoes, and green beans. So let me get all this on our plate right quick. Okay, our plates are done. Let me get me a fork here and I will check that country fried steak and see how it tastes. Okay, it's done here and I'm gonna get me a bite and taste it. I'm gonna try the country fried steak first. That sure is good and it's nice and tender. And you have to remember, I got dentures, so if I can chew country fried steak, it's got to be good and tender. That's very good. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching me make this country fried steak and the brown gravy to go with it. This is a very good recipe. If you try it, be sure and leave comments and let us know how it turns out for you. And if you will, just be sure and leave comments and let us know how you like this video. Be sure you hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, be sure you go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate everyone that takes time to watch our videos. It really means a lot to us. And we appreciate each and every one of you. So y'all have a great day and we will see you on our next video.
I call you